Sandra and Peter had been husband and wife for many years. They loved each other deeply, but their hearts were heavy with sadness. Why? Because they had no child. At first, they believed it would happen soon. Every month, they hoped and waited. But the years passed, and Sandra remained without a child. It broke her heart. Sandra often sat alone in the bedroom, tears running down her face as she spoke quietly to God. "Dear God," she would whisper, "please bless me with a child. I have been married for so long, but I have not tasted the joy of motherhood. People think I came into this marriage just to eat my husband's money. They don't see my pain. They don't know my heart. Please, God, take this shame away from me." Sometimes Sandra would go into the bathroom, lock the door, and cry silently. She didn't want Peter to hear her. She didn't want him to see her broken. In the quiet of the toilet, she would kneel on the cold floor and speak to God with all her heart. "God, am I not a woman too? Why is my womb empty? Why do I feel like I'm not good enough? Sometimes I even feel like I'm a man because I have no child to call me mother. Please, bless me with a child. Even just one. Let my husband smile again. Let people stop mocking me. Let my home be filled with the laughter of a baby." Peter, though quiet, also felt the pain. He loved Sandra, but he didn't know how to take away her sorrow. He often came home to see her eyes red from crying. He would hold her and tell her everything would be fine, but deep inside, he was also praying, also hoping. Every day, Sandra woke up with the same prayer on her lips. Every night, she went to bed with tears on her pillow. She was tired, but she refused to give up. She believed that one day, God would hear her cry. One quiet night, Peter woke up and noticed that Sandra wasn't beside him in bed. He looked around the room and found her sitting all alone in the dark corner of their room. Her head was down, and she was crying again. Her shoulders shook with every sob, and her tears fell freely. Peter's heart broke. He slowly walked over to her and gently pulled her into his arms. Sandra didn't fight it. She leaned into him and cried even harder, her pain too heavy to hide. "My love," Peter said softly, wiping her tears with his hands, "please stop doing this to yourself. Stop crying every night. Don't carry this burden alone. We are in this together. You are not alone." Sandra tried to speak, but the words got stuck in her throat. All she could do was cry. Peter held her even tighter and continued, "God will remember us. He sees our pain. He knows your tears. One day, He will bless us with our own child. But until then, don't hurt yourself like this. Don't give yourself high blood pressure before our miracle comes." Sandra looked up at him through her tears. "Are you sure?" she asked in a small voice. Peter smiled and nodded. "I believe it with all my heart, and until that day comes, we'll stand strong together." That night, Sandra felt a deep peace in her heart. She promised Peter that she would be strong from now on, no more crying alone. She would wait in faith. Months passed. Then, one morning, Sandra noticed something strange in her body. She felt different. She waited a few days, then took a pregnancy test. It was positive. She took another one, still positive. Her hands shook as she held the test. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were tears of joy. She ran to Peter with the biggest smile he had ever seen on her face. "Peter, Peter, I'm pregnant." Peter froze. "What did you say?" "I'm pregnant," she shouted, jumping up and down with joy. Peter couldn't believe his ears. He grabbed Sandra, lifted her up, and spun her around. "Thank you, Jesus," he shouted. "You have done it for us." From that moment, their home was filled with joy, laughter, and singing. Peter became a new man. He pampered Sandra like a queen. He wouldn't let her lift a finger. "Don't touch that," he'd say if she tried to wash dishes. "My baby must not be stressed." He did everything, cooking, cleaning, even massaging her feet at night. Sandra was so happy. She spent her days singing songs of thanksgiving. "God has wiped away my shame," she'd say over and over. "I am no longer barren. My womb is blessed. My home is full of joy." Everyone who heard the news rejoiced with them. Friends, neighbors, even people who once mocked her now came to congratulate her. And Sandra? She smiled every day. Her face was brighter than ever, and her heart was full of peace. God had remembered her. 9 months later, Sandra gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. The joy in their home was beyond words. Laughter, music, dancing, it was like a festival every day. Peter couldn't stop thanking God. He would dance around the house, clapping his hands, singing and shouting, "God has proven it. I am a man. My wife is a woman with a blessed and fertile womb. The shame is gone forever. He carried his son with pride and called him Testimony. To Peter, the child was not just a baby. He was a proof of God's power, a living answer to many years of silent prayers and tears. Sandra, on her part, loved her baby more than anything in the world. She nursed him with care, kissed his little hands, and talked to him every day like he was a king. She no longer felt empty or ashamed. Her life was now full of purpose. One sunny afternoon, after bathing her baby and doing some house chores, Sandra became very tired. She lay down to rest for just a little while, thinking her baby was safe beside her inside the house. But while Sandra slept, the baby woke up. He crawled around the room, knocking things down and making a mess. Then, to Sandra's shock and horror, the baby crawled out of the house, quietly and unnoticed. Minutes passed, then an hour. When Sandra finally woke up, she stretched and reached for her baby, only to find the space beside her empty. Her heart stopped. She searched the whole house. No baby. She screamed, she cried. She fell to the floor, shaking and wailing. Her worst fear had come true. That was how Peter met her when he came home, on the floor, crying like her world had ended. "What is it?" he asked, already panicking. "My baby, our baby is gone," Sandra cried out. Without saying a word, Peter dashed out of the house. He ran up and down the streets, calling the baby's name, knocking on doors, asking neighbors, but no one had seen anything. By evening, he returned home, broken and angry. "If my baby is not found," Peter said with tears in his eyes, "I will divorce you, Sandra. I warned you to always watch him. How could you be careless?" Sandra was shattered. Her tears flowed daily. She stopped eating. She walked aimlessly on the streets, talking to herself, begging God to return her baby. She knocked on strangers' gates, hoping someone had found him. She didn't care what people thought. Her only desire was to hold her child again. Days passed. One morning, while Sandra was sitting alone inside the house, silent and weak from crying, she heard a soft sound at the door. She turned slowly. And there, right at the entrance, was her baby, crawling back into the house. Her eyes widened. Her breath caught. "Jesus!" she screamed. She ran and scooped him up in her arms, hugging him tightly, crying tears of joy. Her baby was back, safe, smiling, and unharmed. She called Peter immediately. "Peter, our baby is back. He's back." Peter dropped everything and ran home. The moment he saw his son, he broke down in tears. He held the child close and whispered, "Thank you, Jesus. You never allowed us to be put to shame." From that day, Sandra and Peter loved their child even more. They never left him out of their sight. Their bond grew stronger, and their home was filled with peace, love, and happiness. They had gone through pain, but in the end, God gave them joy. Moral lessons: 1. Never give up on your dreams, no matter how long it takes. 2. God's timing is always perfect. 3. In marriage, support and understanding are powerful. 4. Watch over your blessings with care. 5. Love, prayer, and patience can bring miracles. Thank you message to my viewers. Thank you so much for watching this story. I hope it touched your heart and reminded you to always trust in God, no matter what life brings. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with someone who needs encouragement. And most importantly, subscribe to my channel and stay with me for more inspiring stories. Your support means everything to me. God bless you.